Hi guys, today we will talk about cages, how to buy the perfect ferret cage. Yoda will be my guide. We will talk about his cage because that is first cage I bought, and then we will talk about Frida's cage. They are in two separate cages because he is too energetic and Frida wants to sleep, and during the night he plays in the cage, he jumps and he does everything, so Frida can be alone. I have this room for them, so they are always outside. They just sleep in the cage and that is all. Interesting part is they both have blankets here, but they want to sleep in a cage during the day. This bag is where Yoda usually sleeps when he's too tired to go in the cage. Come Yoda, come. This is his favorite bag, and the purple one is for Frida. She slept in it in October, but now I don't know, probably it's too cold, so she wants to cuddle up in a blanket. Look. So he is now resting, and he will probably fall asleep now. Yes, that is his place. Now let's get back to the cages. So you don't have to buy a ferret cage to have a good cage. There are a few things you must consider when buying a cage, and that is actually all. First, I want to talk about those things you must consider, and then later I will show you my cage. I had a problem with one cage, and I will show you how I solved that problem. Yoda's cage, of course. First thing you must consider when buying a cage is how many ferrets will you have. If you want to have just one ferret, then you should buy one cage that shouldn't be too big. There are some measures for ferret cages that are minimum, and below that don't go because your ferret will be miserable in it. Especially if you have a job, a school or college you have to attend to, and he will be in cage for, I don't know, 8 hours. I know that ferrets are big sleepers, but when they're awake and they can be released, they have to do something in the cage. So those little hamster cages or mouse cages, no, that is really not an option. Don't even consider them. That can be a transporter. Don't use it as a transporter, but it's just too small for ferrets. About the size, don't use smaller than 70, 60, 50 centimeters. It will make your ferret miserable. He has to have room for exercise. Another thing you must consider is that ferrets love narrow spaces, meaning that they love to slide, and they are great escape artists. When you see one cage, try, if there are two doors, try to open one door and try to open it from the inside. If you can just shake it a little bit and it will open, that's not good. That is not good because your ferret will do that. When he wants to go out, he will go out. He will shake the door, he will bite at the door, he will try to lift them up, put them down, shake them on one side, other side. He will find a solution. And that's why you have to have great door. There is another thing that your ferret can use as an escape. It's those holes between the wires. They shouldn't be more than an inch wide, 2.5 centimeters. That is like this, because everything else your ferret will escape. I had a problem with my old cage and with Yoda, because doors on that cage can be pulled down, and then there is a hole between wires, between the cage and the door, which is about 3 centimeters wide, and he escaped once through that little gap. So yeah, they can escape through that. Be careful when you are buying a ferret cage. Don't buy a cage that is wide like this, that has wires that are like this big. Buy like this. It's more safer. When wires are narrow, they won't consider them as the way to escape. And you will have one thing less to worry about. Now let's talk about the bottom of the cage. Don't use wired bottom of the cage. Use solid. There are cages with solid plastic. There are cages with metal, but plastic is the best because it's easier to clean than metal. Metal can rust and everything, and that can be complicated. If you already have a cage with wires on the bottom, cover it with something. Cover it with plastic, with lino, with anything. It will be easier for them because their paws, you saw how they have specific paws, and their paw can be stuck between the wires and they will panic and they will hurt themselves. If you have any other surface in a cage, like a platform or a ramp or anything, don't use wired. Use solid plastic. Now that we talked about how a ferret cage should look like, what about the inside? What to put inside of a ferret's cage? Hammocks. So many hammocks. Just put it wherever you can in a cage, because ferrets love to hang when they sleep. They love to be in something fluffy that will adjust to their shape, and that is a hammock. If you buy a cage specially made for ferrets, you will have platforms in it. Platforms are there so you can use the entire cage. You can use platforms to separate ferrets' habits. For example, in the bottom of the cage is litter box, and ferret does its business there. On the first platform you can put hammock or some bed for him to sleep, and on the highest platform you can put food and water bowl. Now that your ferret has hammocks, has food and water bowl, it has litter box. When ferrets are awake, they love to sniff, they love to dig, and they love to turn over stuff. So use ferret bowls for food and water that can be fixed to the walls of the cage, because your ferret will turn them over 100%. The same thing is with the litter box. Most litter boxes have a hook to hook them on the cage. If yours doesn't have, just drill the hole, put some clip and hook it on the cage. Your ferret will turn litter box like he turned bowls of food and water. The same thing. Now let's talk about toys. You have some chores to do. You aren't at home 24/7 and your ferret wants to go out, but you are, I don't know, outside paying bills. What to do? Put some toys inside your ferret's cage. He will need something for entertainment. That can be balls, that can be tunnels, that can be some stuffed animal, or you can just take one ribbon and fix it on the top of the cage and let it hang, and he will play with it. The main reason for that is when ferret is bored, he will try to escape because he knows that he has fun outside of the cage. You must stop that thought by letting him have toys inside of the cage, but you must be careful. Do not put sponge in it, rubber in it, any plastic or anything that he can chew, because when he's in a cage you can monitor him because you are not inside, and if he chews a sponge, he can be sick, he can be really sick, and you don't want that. Be careful with it, because ferrets don't see a threat They will chew on sponge if they want to. This is Yoda's cage. Yoda's cage has wires that are 2 centimeters wide. On the door, they are much wider. And when he was small, he escaped through this place here. The reason for that is these doors are not so good, because people expect that this door should be closed like this, which makes them good enough to escape. So what I did, I'm closing the door like this, and then I put metal hooks. Wait. I put metal hooks to close the door. I won't close it now because it's hard for me to open it with just one hand. So anyway, now let's see what Ferret has inside. This is Yoda's cage. Yoda has a litter box on the left with 2 hammocks. It has a bucket hammock and he has a cube hammock. He only has 1 platform because the second one, which was here, I broke. This thing broke and I just can't hang it anymore. Anyway, this was a hole for a tunnel, which I removed because it's just it's useless. Here is his water and here is his food bowl. Food bowl has breakfast inside, but it looks like this. I won't show you breakfast. The same thing is with Frida, but Frida's cage I will show you some other video. So what's important here? It's important that these wires are 2 centimeters wide and don't use any wider wires because you will have a problem I had with this door. You see, this is only small difference. I can't focus. It won't focus. So it is small difference, but it means a lot to a ferret. Anyway, another important thing is that the bottom is solid. And every platform I had is a solid one. So they are not wired and you don't have to cover it with some lime or anything. So this is Yoda's cage. He's inside only during the night. During the day he's released when I'm at home. And I don't have any extra bowls of food and water outside. When he wants to drink, he goes inside the cage and drinks, and when he wants to eat, he has to come to me and ask for food because he loves to stash food. Since we are on raw meat diet, I can allow him to stash. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. I hope I have showed you some tricks about cages, how to pick the best cage for your ferret. And if you like this video, like, share, subscribe. Bye!